All right, guys, let's do this. What up? It's JoJo on the radio. This is the iHeartRadio Countdown. Steven Sanchez, holy crap. Good to see you in person, dude.
JoJo,
What's
great to see you, man.
I feel like we've met. Well, we've met on Zoom, but I feel like we've met like I feel like are we friends? I think we're friends, right?
I would say that, yeah. I feel like we've done this in multiple lifetimes, and it's been beautiful every time.
Something about you, I see why people like you and gravitate to you. Hey, you're from Sacramento.
Yes.
But do you still live in Nashville, right?
I still live in Nashville. That's where I'm living, yeah.
Yeah, I have to have, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to ask you about Nashville, because there's something about Nashville that I keep hearing about. It's the most amazing place ever, right?
It is amazing. Yeah, it's a great place to live. Especially, I feel like as an artist, it's a good place to kind of, dig in and like find your people and then travel for work to LA.
All right, let me just turn you loose. Nashville.
Right.
I've heard so much. The food, obviously, I've only been there like 2 or 3 times. And something about Nashville, does Nashville fuel the music? Does it fuel just your life? What is it about Nashville as we sit in LA?
Yeah, of course. Honestly, Nashville felt pretty natural of a place for me to move to. I mean, solely because, the producer that we started working with lived in Nashville, and the engineer that we ended up working with lived in Nashville. That was Ian Fishhook and Conrad Snyder, who've been with me for the past 3 years working on every piece of music that has ever come out.
So anything you've done,
anything I've done, they've had their hands on and they've been a part of. And and I think just from that, I met some of my first friends, in the week making the first record, there. And it just kind of came about naturally with these amazing people who have been with me, in a workspace, Ian and Conrad, but then also meeting people just like existing in Nashville, like that have been my friends for the last 3 years, which is so exciting. And I feel like it's good to chase that stuff and like go to where that is, as opposed to trying to maybe find it somewhere else.
Right.
So
Nashville, you guys have a lot of sweet tea there too, I hear,
I don't even like sweet tea, but I think there is sweet tea there.
By the way, and random, and we'll cut off the Nashville talk, but I was talking to Lance Bass yesterday.
Okay.
Random, NSYNC fame, and he's talking about moving to Nashville too.
No way.
Yeah, I'm like, what the? Everybody is moving. Okay. Anyway,
honest to God, it's affordable, and they're really nice people there.
I'm going to be your neighbor soon. I'm told debut album this summer. What can you say? What can you not say? All that good stuff.
Debut album, yes, this summer. It is a total shift in what has been released. Apart from Until I Found You, of course, and now Evangeline. It's kind of, we're introducing people to this brand new sound, which is very 50s and 60s inspired. Which at the core of myself, that's the root of everything, Even songwriting and just like who I am as a person, like that music has.
Why do you think that is? Did your parents play like, the 50s and that vibe when you were growing up? Or
my grandparents actually. And it was a lot of self-discovery too, just like stemming from small moments with them. And I just like, just the way I look at love and like, all that between two people and, how that shows up in life and even romanticizing life and just romanticizing anything, it's it feels like that music is very it's very easy to get on board with what that music is singing about and to like apply it as like a mantra almost.
Man, the album, is it pretty much done, like 60% done, 70%?
It's about 60% done. Yeah, I would say there are definitely some more songs that I feel like could beat some of the ones that we love. And,
oh wow.
But there are some on there that will definitely make the record, and I think people will like even more than Evangeline and even more than the one that we release after Evangeline. And so,
man, you've got a sound, and it's so like when I first heard Until I Found You, I that was right about when the Elvis movie was coming out. And I think I asked you, I'm like, when I first heard it, I thought, is this from that soundtrack?
Oh man.
And it turns out it's just, that's who you are. It's so cool, dude.
Thanks, man.
Who is Evangeline? Real, fake? Who is?
Evangeline is just, it is a metaphor. It is a symbol of this, the side of love that is very seductive and, that pulls you in and doesn't let you go and that you want to run towards and run away from. And it just kind of feels like this inescapable thing, that, I don't know, it kind of seduces you into itself. And I think that's an important side of love that I feel like it's talked about, but isn't really like romanticized, I guess. Like, and I think with this record, like Evangeline and that type of love is set in 1964, and Until I Found You is set in 1958, and Georgia being that that symbol of love that is very sweet.
But Georgia was a real person in your song.
But Georgia is a real person, yes. But in this record and this thing, and even the character that is the troubadour Sanchez, who's this made up character, of me being back in the 1950s and 60s, like, it's all just a symbol of stuff, and so Georgia now has become a symbol of that very sweet love, and Evangeline has become this symbol of a very seductive and sexy love, if you will.
So Georgia and Evangeline,
yes,
little friction between the two, possibly. It could happen.
Well, not the actual characters, but it's just it's just a symbol, really. They're not fighting each other or anything like that.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, but it is just a symbol of this record and like the different sides of what this record is going to be. So.
All this stuff you do, why do I love this so much? I am so fascinated. You're doing your own thing. You've created your own lane. Love it, man. Even do you have? And I hate to put it this way, but crazy fan encounters. Your fans are beautiful, wonderful, lovely people. But I love the stories when people go a little extra. For example, like people showing up with a Stephen Sanchez tattoo or a lyric tatted or, who knows what. Do you have a story that fits under that category of crazy fan encounters?
Oh my God. I feel like everyone's been so respectful and like sweet, which is really nice because I feel
crap.
like. Yeah, I know. Oh crap! Like I have nice fans like who are respectful and like treat me nice. Like no, I think they're wonderful. I almost feel like I have a little bit too much power though, because I feel like I could like post something on a story and like be like, bring this, and like they do,
That's wild.
Like they show up to a show like with like for the show we played in Nashville, it was a sold out show at the Basement East, and I asked people to bring these Little Miss whatever signs. There was like this joke going around like where people would show up with Little Miss writes sad love songs, but has never been in love, like kind of thing. And so people brought all these different signs, like everyone brought these signs because I just made one post about it.
What the heck?
It's so weird. And like I made posts about this like this hat that I liked, and like 15 people like put me in their story and were like, I made you a hat and like I'm gonna bring it on tour. And I'm like, it's just so weird. It just feels really, they're just really cool. And I guess in a strange way, like that is almost weird a little bit, that there is that
it's weird because this is normal in your world, but when you really think about it, these are complete strangers and you're a stranger to them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But music has connected you guys,
Yeah. It's really bizarre. And I would like to think that there is there's a genuineness in like that I am exactly who I am on stage and off stage. I feel like that is true. But it's just weird because like, even with that, like they're not with me every day and they don't know me, right. But it's like, they're just like, it's just so strange. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is wild. Well, thank God for fans for sure, man. They love they are why you're here basically,
Yeah.
Stephen, lots of touring,
yes.
Talk about, do you love the road life? Or some people, I talked to a lot of artists and a lot of them tell me when they're on the road, they kind of wish they were home.
Yeah.
When they're at home, they wish they were on the road. It's kind of a little battle back and forth. Where do you stand on road life? Do you enjoy life on the road?
I guess it's just if I can sleep, that's cool. I like to sleep. I don't know. I don't think we've really gotten this will be the first time we've gotten the chance to really do it,
right.
Like for real, and be on a bus and like go from city to city, as opposed to like we did a Europe tour with M. Byhold, this last summer, and that was just flight after flight after flight, which is like overkill extreme.
Wow.
So I guess like when it's that extreme, I'm not particularly like the biggest fan of it personally, because it's just a lack of sleep and then you go sound check and then play the show. Right. But I feel like for this, like I feel like it'll be enjoyable because not only are we getting to play shows for people who are taking time out of their lives to come and be a part of what we're doing, but like I get to do it with my friends.
Yeah. And the tour, a lot of dates. This whole year is going to be crazy, basically, traveling.
It's going to be pretty insane. Yeah, we have, the whole spring tour, and then we have the fall tour, which that one's 3 months long, and that's just like, that is crazy. That is a crazy thing. Talk about jumping in the deep end and hoping to swim.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Stephen, Evangeline, which I'll play in a few minutes here. We're coming to it, I promise. But true or false, you wrote Evangeline, I think I read in 15 minutes or less, something like that.
Yeah.
How does this, I'm sure it took longer to record, I would think, but 15 minutes, the whole thing, boom, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's really weird, honestly. Like I said this in another thing, but it's like, it's like I've gotten like a do-over, like of what I'm already living in right now. Like all this stuff has already happened, but I'm just getting to like experience it for the first time and like do it for the first time. And so like with these songs, like with Until I Found You, it was the same thing, 15 minutes. With Evangeline, it was 15 minutes. Like the rest of this record that like, and songs that I love from the new record were written in like 15 minutes, or I wrote like the day I got home from the studio. Like it's just like, it's so strange, like that this sound and this style is like just pouring out so naturally. It's really bizarre. And yeah, it was insane. And we also like just got back from that Europe tour with M. Byhold. We were like, I was back for maybe a day. And when we jumped into the studio to record this song and we started working on this other idea that I came in with, and it was an awful idea. It was awful. And he showed me the thing and I was like, nah, I'm not really into that. And then we looked back and I was like, no, we should definitely write this. And then that was it. Evangeline existed. And it's funny too, because we didn't know what to say. Like we did the whole chorus and didn't have any line to end on. And so we were coming up with different names like to end on, and Evangeline just stuck, and that was it.
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
Now, do you think from now on that if you hit 15 minutes and it's not really happening with this particular song, do you shelf it and move on to something else? Because 15 minutes ish seems like the magic number for you in some crazy way. Yeah,
I think so. When we approached writing this new record, it was definitely like, if we don't write a song like in the first hour, like let's just call it a day.
Right.
You know, because like I would rather have songs that like feel like they're pouring out, instead of just like we're trying to dig for them, you know, and trying to like make them a thing. You know, it feels like if these songs are supposed to exist and people are supposed to have them, they should just come out, you know, and fall out, you know, onto the paper. Like, but if they don't, then like it feels like we're doing it with the intention of trying to write something that, like, I don't know, is supposed to be big, instead of just writing something that just came out, you know,
Fair
and
enough.
Not thinking about it.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Most artists, if it comes to them quick, it's kind of magic. I had one I think it was maybe J. Cole told me that one song took him like a couple of years to write, but that's, you know, I don't know what, it's the craziest story ever.
Yeah,
but most
and I think that's valid.
Like that.
I think that's totally valid. But man, I don't know. I think with this specifically, it just felt right that like, it felt like these songs should just fall out, instead of like something that we should like pine over and be like, God, you know.
Evangeline. I think we said so many things about it already, but what else should we say before I play this track, dude? This is you've done it again, obviously.
Yeah, it's the opener for the brand new record, which I can't say a ton about, but it's setting us off in 1964, and then it's just gonna flip back and forth between 1958 and 1964. Why'd you pick those two? It just kind of happened naturally. You think that's where you kind of fall? Or? Honestly, in 1958, you know, the bands that were playing always had an extension to themselves. It was James Brown and the Famous Flames, or it was Elvis Presley and the Blue Moon Boys, or it was, you know, yeah, I mean, literally that. Yeah, I mean, or Dion and the Belmonts, you know, like that was the 50s era. Like there was always an extension to the artistry to, you know, create that doo-wop sound, and then everyone did their solo project, and then it just became Dion, and then it just became Elvis Presley, and then it just became James Brown, you know? And I think like that's where the difference happens, you know, in the songs that feel like they're from 1958, there's that doo-wop feel, and it feels like it's like Steven Sanchez and the Mooncrests, you know?
So cool.
And then in 1964, it's just the Troubadour Sanchez, which is the like made up name, you know, for the 60s sound. So
God, two-part question, dude.
Lay it on me.
The biggest crowd to date you've performed for, and the complete flip of that in so many ways. Have you ever been booed, Steven Sanchez?
Oh man. Well, we did a show in Denver, Colorado at this brewery, and I think there was like 3,500 people there, and that was pretty.
Wow.
That was surreal. That was really insane. I think one that we felt the most was probably a show we did with Mount Joy. It was about 2,000 people. And we opened up for them at the State Theater in Portland, Maine. And that was very, very overwhelming. And like, we could see just like a sea of people. And that was it was insane.
Can you, before you move on to the boo thing, can you tell when you've got the crowd in the palm of your hands? Does it like, you know, when you first roll out, maybe have them in the palm of your hands from the moment you step on stage? I don't know. Yeah. But is there a moment where it clicks like, okay, now I got them?
Yeah. I think when we do that first song, it's just, I feel like there's something that like other artists don't give that we do. And I think that's just, it is that sound. And I feel like it is that style. And I think with that comes that almost takeover of that genre. Like even in our artistry, like it feels like the whole band is like in this, like the 1950s and 60s just walked out on stage, and like we're moving around in this different way that I feel like maybe someone else isn't doing. I feel like once people see that, it's like, I feel like it pulls them into something different, and I feel like they're a part of something different, and I would like to think that they feel that way, and I think that's the only time I feel like we got them is that first song, and then, you know, just the rest, they're just like, what's going to happen next?
That's awesome, dude.
You know?
Okay, and have you ever been booed?
It's really interesting because it's worse, honestly. I think a boo, you know exactly what you're getting, you know, but I did this show like 2 years ago. It was in the middle of the pandemic, granted, but it was at this venue in Nashville, and we booked it and everything, and 15 people showed up.
Oh God.
And then like they all started leaving at various times during the set. And it was awful. It was awful. And that was like 150 person room, and it was just like, it was so embarrassing. It was the worst. I wanted to just leave. But yeah, that's probably worse than getting booed, honestly. Just like they're like, actually, I hated it so much, I don't even want to boo. I just want to leave, you know? Oh. And then they just left.
Dude, okay, those things make you stronger though, but God, that's it probably wasn't funny at the time, but God, that's hilarious. You say,
oh yeah,
it's
no,
funny
it's
now,
funny
right?
to think about now because holy, yeah, because now we got like a full sold out tour for the spring and like shows selling out for the fall already, and that show's a year away, you know.
Yeah, big shout to you, 15, 30 people. Who needs you guys?
Yeah, whatever, man.
The track "Until I Found You."
Yes. When
did you know that song was going to be like huge? I mean, was there an oh my God, holy crap moment like this thing? I mean, because it is still killing.
Yeah. And I still don't feel like a big shot or anything, which is, I just say this all the time because it's just like, that song and all I ever needed it to be was about the girl I wrote it for. That's it. And I just needed her to know how I felt about her. And obviously that's Georgia, and we were dating at the time. And, you know, obviously we're not dating now, but I mean, truthfully, like that's really all I wanted that song to be. And right. It just became so much more. And I feel like that is just so special. And I don't know. I think it's in the same way with, like, you know, we try and write a song in 15 minutes, and if it comes out naturally, then it does. It's almost in the same way, like, if this song goes great, then fantastic. It was meant to be that way, you know, but if it doesn't, then all right. But I still can't believe that this song has done what it did, and that I have a plaque with a platinum record on it and my name on it.
What the heck?
You know, and it's just like looking at things like that, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, I feel like an imposter all the time, you know, seeing things like that and hearing about things like that, and even being asked questions like that, because it's just like, I don't know, it's so hard to like sit back on something you've written and be like, this is going to be massive, because if that's the reason you're writing songs, like, that's such a waste, you know, that's such a waste of like a gift and a talent to just want to have the fame and glory from other people. But like, I wrote that song because I just loved somebody, you know, and like, it's so cool. Wow, this is like making me a little emotional, actually. Like, it's so cool that like people that I don't know who like are in love apart from the love that I had for that person, like, applied that song to their love story, and like, and it wasn't just one relationship, it was millions of relationships, and that's just like so cool. And I think seeing that, I think that felt like it was going to stick around for a while.
It's mind-bending, man. And you know what? You're going to be, in a good way, singing that song till you're 100.
Dude, I hope I live to like 100, I guess.
Oh man. Well, congrats on that track, Steven. That's, I mean, what else can I say about it? Jesus. I don't think you know this about me. Maybe I asked you briefly when we met on Zoom a while back, but I am obsessed with the paranormal.
Oh,
ghost,
cool.
UFOs,
That's awesome.
All that stuff. I've got a podcast called Paranormalish. I mean, it's a year-round thing for me.
That's awesome.
Have you, Steven Sanchez, ever had something you'd consider a paranormal encounter?
Yes. Okay. So I was we were just about to move from my house in California to Nashville. It was like 8 a.m. and I remember I was laying in bed and I just hear 3 loud bangs on my door, and I was like, and it like jolted me awake. I was like, what the heck was that? And I jumped out of bed and I opened the door and no one was there. And I was like, what the heck? And I ran down the hallway, and my mom works in like an office in her hallway. And I was like, Mom, did you knock on my door? And she was like, no, I didn't knock on your door at all. I was like, okay, did Dad knock on my door? And she's like, he's been at work all day. And I was like, I just had like 3 massive knocks on my door. Like, and she's like, oh, that's so weird. And it's insane because it jolted me awake. I don't know if it was in my dream, but I could like audibly hear it so loud, and it was bizarre. Yeah.
Is there a backstory to the house or anything unusual like that?
No, it was just like a house built in the 80s, you know. I feel like not a lot of ghost stuff happened in the 80s. I feel like it was like the 50s and 60s and like maybe the 1800s and stuff. But yeah, 80s were like whatever.
They all ghosts show up in this 1920s, civil whatever.
Man, like whatever.
They were having too much fun in the 80s. Final thing I'll ask on the paranormal thing, Stephen, on your tour, because you're doing a lot of dates, would you consider if I found, because a lot of these hotels you're going to stay in are beautiful hotels,
yes, but
there's always that one room like, oh God, don't go in that room.
Yes.
Watch out for that. Would you consider staying in one of those rooms and reporting back? Tell me what happened.
Man, I probably wouldn't. Just 'cause I feel like I have like trauma as it is that I'm cool with from people that are alive. I don't need any trauma from people that are dead.
Fair enough. All right, Stephen, that's a big no. Everybody tells me no. Here's another thing I thought was just cool to add to the cool things in your life. And maybe this is an older comment, I don't know, but Elton John is a fan of you.
I love Elton. I love him so much.
What is that? Is there a relationship there? Have you spoken much? I know he said he fell in love with your music and voice, I believe is the quote. Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, so that story is actually absurd. I still haven't processed that, and that happened a while ago. I was at iHeartRadio in Denver, and I was at that office, and like 2 weeks before, my publisher David Gray called me, and he's like, "Hey, just letting you know, Elton John's going to call you." This is 2 weeks before, and I'm like,
say what?
I was like, "That's like the weirdest joke ever. Like this is the weirdest joke ever." And I didn't believe him. I honestly thought he was joking. I was just like going along. I was like, okay. And then I like totally played it off and forgot about it, and I got this random anonymous phone call from Atlanta, Georgia. While I was in the iHeartRadio office, I was in the lobby, and I was like, oh, I'll pick this up. This is really specific, and like it says unknown caller on it. I was like, this is weird. And I pick it up, and I'm like, hello, and he's like, Steven. And I was like, yes. And he's like, it's Elton. And I was like, he's like, hello there, darling. I was like, oh my God. I literally dropped to my knees, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like so immediately taken back, and it was like, oh my God. And he talked to me, and he's just like, I love your record so much. Like, it's so incredible. Like, you're bringing back a sound that like nobody else is doing right now. And he's just like, you remind me of a young Chris Isaac and all stuff. And he started like asking like, where did that come from? Like, what is this? And it just being so, he just asked so many questions and was so interested and like was so lovely to me. And it's just insane. And then he had us on the Rocket Hour and then played the song and the EP and all these different things. And it's just like, and even like, Monty Littman, who's, the president of the label, the album under, like him and I were sitting in his office, and he was telling me, he was just like, man, did I tell you the story about the phone call I had with Elton John? And I was like, no. And Elton called him and was like, Monty. And he was like, yes. And he's like, that Steven Sanchez is going to be a star. And I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like, this is an insane thing to be hearing. And Elton continues to go to Monty. He's like, no, do you remember the last time we talked about this? And Monty goes, yeah, the last time we talked about somebody like this, we were talking about Amy Winehouse. And I was just like taken back. I was like, listen, I'm not that important, y'all. Like, it's cool. and then Elton was like, if anything I can do to like be at the front of this and like help this career do anything, like I'm there. Like, you have that chip to play. And so it's just like, dude, so crazy. It's so crazy. I don't know why he likes me so much. I love him, but it's awesome. That was a long-winded response. Thanks for listening to that.
My brain is just... That is, I mean,
yeah.
Talk about it, and not just, hey, I like your music. I mean, he's in
it. Yeah.
Hey, you told me this before, but the Rickenbacker guitar story.
Yes.
I'd love for you to tell that again. But you wrote on this guitar, you wrote "Until I Found You" the first day you got it. Did you write Evangeline on this guitar as well?
I did not. No,
oh.
I actually don't know how to play Evangeline, like, at all. like on
Really?
any instrument. Yeah. Because obviously we recorded to a sample, and so it was already like done.
Sure, yeah.
And he built the track, and so I didn't have to do anything. And that's a weird thing too. That was really interesting. That's probably the only time we'll ever do that, ever.
I think I read that when you sampled it, when you heard the sample, you just knew it immediately, like what you were going to do with it.
Oh yeah, like right out of the gate. But yeah, so with Until I Found You, I did not have the finances to do it, and I just did it. And I called my business manager and was like, can I buy this guitar? And he's like, I would advise you not to. And I was like, okay. And I went and I bought this 2017 black Rickenbacker and this Tyler reverb tremolo amp. And I bought it and I brought it home, and I was playing in my bedroom, and I literally wrote the song like hours after I got the guitar, like hours. And that was it. That was it.
If I can ask, ballpark, what is a Rickenbacker or Bacher? Rickenbacker?
Rickenbacker? It's probably Rickenbacker. Okay. I'm probably saying it wrong.
What's if I wanted to buy one? What's the what do they cost? Or should I even ask that?
They're like $1,400.
And the amp with that is like
the amp is also like $1,400 too.
So that's a lot of goodness.
Some digits, man.
It paid off, man.
It did pay off. Yeah.
What is your family, your friends, like the people that have been with you since day one? What's their reaction to all this success you've had so far? I know your career's still young, I get that, but you've done a lot of cool stuff. What's their reaction to all this madness?
Oh man, I think they're really proud. I dropped out of high school, and so everyone was really like, "Oh, like what are you doing?" kind of thing.
Right.
Like, and I just knew that like I wasn't good at school at all, and like from any level, any grade, I just wasn't great at it. And I knew like going to college, I wasn't going to be great at it. And I loved music so much. And, thank God it was over the summertime that like, Republic decided to take a chance on me, and Ben Adelson decided, that I was worth their time. It was insane. And so I think just like, even from that moment on, like everyone was kind of like, what's this going to be? And now it's like, it's really a thing. And like, we're really, really doing it. And I think they're really, really proud and excited. And I mean, I have my friends who are getting to experience this with me for the first time, and it feels really special. And I think we're all really excited and really proud. And yeah. Really
and
awesome.
Same question to you, I guess. What's your reaction? Just kind of blown away? I mean, Elton John's calling you on the phone.
Truthfully, dude. Man, I really do. I feel like an imposter. Like I feel like I am who I am.
You're not, though. You're not.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm that important, or like I just don't feel like I'm hot anything. Like I'm just like a guy, and I really love music, and I get to play it with friends who get to do really crazy things with me too. And it's like, it's bizarre. It's really bizarre, but I'm extremely grateful. So it's cool.
Evangeline is out. New album, debut album, coming out this summer, sometime. Tour, you're gonna be touring all over. There's different legs of the tour, and he's not gonna stay in a haunted room for me. That's okay.
Multiple legs.
Multiple legs. Where
there's
are
like 8 legs. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
What else do people need to know about you, Steven Sanchez, before you roll out?
I love angel hair pasta over normal pasta. Ugh. I really do. Yeah.
What? That's all we need to know right there.
All right, sweet.
So if they handed you like normal spaghetti or angel hair,
yeah, but if you're going to give me like a noodle, a rigatoni is the best.
Are you a big Italian food fan?
I love Italian food.
Dude, I cannot get a couple of places in LA I got to take you to.
That's awesome. Oh, listen to this song. It's called Gentle on My Mind by Glenn Campbell. It's really good. I think you really like it.
Once again, random, but good times.
Yeah.
Steven, at the end of every interview, fist bump to make it official.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Boom. Cool.